Day 8 of the 20th Commonwealth Games. In this edition, the time trialists take to the road for the race of truth. The gymnasts take to the floor for their final, while others take to the mat, table and lawn in their pursuit of gold. The road cycling programme rolled down the ramp at Glasgow 2014 with the women's individual time trial, a 30-kilometre course around town and country. Fastest time wins. England's Emma Pooley is retiring after these games, and the main reason why she may not wave a golden goodbye could be the strong Kiwi Linda Willemsen. Commentary from Rob Hatch and Rochelle Gilmore.
Interesting battle this, the English and the Scots out there today. The Kiwis and the Aussies as well, some real good national battles.
I don't think I could pick today's time trial. Obviously we have Joanna Rousel, but we have the two favourites with Linda Willemsen and Emma Pooley. Very hard to pick between those two. Emma Pooley's coming into really fine form, but Linda Willemsen on paper, she hasn't been off the World Championship podium in an individual time trial championship for 5 years. So she's definitely got the results there, Willemsen, but Pooley's coming into fine form. Just a couple of weeks ago, won 3 stages of the Giro d'Italia, and that's quite impressive. So very hard to pick out of those two, but then you've got a few names like Rousel, Barker, Sharagilo, Katrin Garfoot's out on the course. Eleanor Barker also is coming into good form. So we've got a lot of good riders out there. It's a very classy field for a women's individual time trial.
Garfoot looks like she's going fairly well.
The Australian Institute of Sport have put a lot of effort into this rider.
Just pumping out the power. She's the fastest after 6.4 Ks.
This is Shara Gillow. She's definitely one of Australia's medal hopes. The stronger possibly of the two out of her and Katrin Garfoot, but we'll see when she goes through for the time check. She's got a good start there, and this is something that she prepares specifically for. So Shara would have put a lot of time into preparing for this. And when I say a lot of time, possibly even 4 years since the last Commonwealth Games. So she wants to win this one. She's going to have a work cut out with Pooley and Willemsen, but it's definitely a race that she's targeted.
Penultimate rider onto the course. Emma Pooley, retiring after these Commonwealth Games, wants to go out with a bang. This is her big opportunity to do so in this time trial.
Well, she just announced a few days ago that this will be her second last race. The road race on Sunday will be her last race in competitive cycling. She's certainly going to focus on triathlon or mountain running, other sports, but for cycling she says this is it. She wants to go out the Commonwealth Games.
Last rider up the course, perhaps the big favourite for today, Linda Willemsen, 29 years of age from New Zealand, actually born in Herning in Denmark, where the Giro d'Italia started a couple of years ago. She's competed under both Danish and Kiwi licenses. She's been national time trial champion 3 times in Denmark. She's been the champion in New Zealand, where she's competed since the last Commonwealth Games in 2010, where she was second. Rochelle Gilmore, can she win it?
She can, absolutely. She's in the form physically to win it. It all depends on the mental state today, on the day of the race with Linda Willemsen.
Back with Willemsen.
Well, it's going to be very interesting to see that time check from Emma Pooley to see how close she is to Willemsen.
First time check from what we saw, she was a little down. Willemsen really setting a strong pace. Pooley looks to be going really well. Coaching her second time check. Plenty of support for her, despite the fact she's wearing the English colours up here in Scotland. Linda Willemsen, last girl on the course. Emma Pooley setting the fastest time then at 17.1 kilometres. 36 ahead of Archibald, Garfoot in third place. Gillow bumped down to fourth. Nielsen down in fifth, so Pooley setting the quickest time check there. Willemsen a second and 30 slower. England have the best chance on the road at the minute though. Virtual leader out there, Emma Pooley.
We've just been given the final time check, and she is actually 8.4 seconds ahead of Linda Willemsen. So this is the day. Like we said, there's normally always someone better than Linda Willemsen, but Emma Pooley, she's been on fine form. She couldn't have got her form timing any better for the Commonwealth Games. The Giro was just amazing a few weeks ago with those 3 wins. Now she's announced her retirement. She was worried that announcing her retirement a couple of days ago would create too much media hype and interest and influence her ability to perform today. But it doesn't look like it's affected her.
Darford it is who's going to set the best time. Mouth open, effort face on, as you can see. Time above her, but she's not concentrating on that, just getting across the finish. Average of 41.1 over the whole race.
We saw her this morning. We saw her laughing and joking, and you know, she must have been beaming with confidence from the recent results that she's had.
She was ready for all weather, all conditions. She wanted the worst that Glasgow could throw at her. At the minute, she's riding into Commonwealth gold. Chance for a late surge maybe from Linda Willemsen, we shall see. But of course, once these differences send to tell a trend,
yeah,
it's very, very difficult to pull it back, isn't it?
It is very difficult, and mostly mentally. When you hear that you're down and you're down that far, 8 seconds is a lot actually in an individual time trial of this distance. So I think Linda Willemsen's probably lost confidence if she's been given that time check, and it would be very, very difficult to pull it back.
Willemsen, who now has Gillo, I think it might well be in her sights. Pooley going really, really well. Motoring along in her red and white English colours.
I asked Emma this morning how many times she'd ridden the course, and she said, I've only done the course 2 times and not in its entirety. She's been out there and checked out half of it and then another half, but in total she said I've done the course 2 times, which is not a lot if we compare it to other riders that have done it about 20 times. 2 times over the course. And an interesting thing about Willemsen was last year she came second at the World Championships, and she had never once ridden the course in its full length. This is where Linda Willemsen could take back a couple of seconds, because normally she's a very, very good bike handler.
Yeah, not the most technical of courses in the main, but of course you've got these little sections at the start and the finish. Inside of Glasgow, you can see these turns, you've got the storm drains to avoid, of course. Here is Linda Willemsen riding back into Glasgow Green.
Well, I've got to say, we don't have any time checks, but she didn't look like she was 1 minute behind when we went from Emma Pooley's image across to Willemsen. It could be a very, very close finish.
So here is Emma Pooley, perhaps with work still to do.
Well, this is what I say. It looks like it could just be a couple of seconds in each corner that Willemsen could take back, but it could come back to a very, very close finish.
So the cadence is up straight away again. Quickly Pooley settles down, puts her hands out into the TT position on those bars that extend ahead of the time trial bike. That's Gillo behind, who she's just overtaken. Pooley racing to the line, hoping to set the fastest time. She will set the fastest time so far, barring a disaster here. The question is she quicker than Linda Willemsen? Head-to-head in recent years has always gone to Willemsen, but Pooley, 2010 world champion. She's been several times British champion as well on the time trial bike. And here she is aiming to be Commonwealth champion. And what a way it would be to go out at the end of her career. Pooley then, cornering to the cheers of the Glasgow crowd. Another right-hander to do. More little bits of cobbles and paving slabs to avoid. And here she comes into the home straight.
Well, that doesn't look like a rider that's just ridden 32 kilometres on the river. She has got plenty of power left in those legs.
Into the final couple of 100 metres as the cars behind her on the diversion off the course. Pooley coming out of the gate looking to set the fastest time possible. She's won all kinds of top races. World Cups, the flesh will on as well. Trofeo Binda, 3-time winner of the Giro d'Italia this year. 42:31:49 is her time. Is it good enough for Commonwealth gold?
Well, that was a pretty fast finish, but here we see Willemsen. This is where it's all going to happen in the last 1 kilometre, where she can get that time back.
So the times and the comparative times are at the bottom of your screen. Willemsen approaching 42 minutes. She's got to get home in the next 35 seconds if she wants to take the gold. There's that right-hander. It's going to be mightily close here, Rochelle. I think she's made up a bit of time.
Well, we expected that she might have, but it's still a long way to the finish. I don't know, it's going to be close, but I think Pooley might have it in the bag.
Willemsen settles down again, teeth gritted, really going for it here. Linda Willemsen, multiple Danish champion, Kiwi champion, riding home. Start gate, finish gate is there. She might just have it,
she's got it.
It is gold for Linda Willemsen. 6.03 seconds quicker than Emma Pooley, and a huge 14-second swing since the last climb gate. Well, she looked to be gaining bit by bit by bit, and as you suggested, Rochelle, on those final few technical turns, the difference has been made.
Well, I've got to say, her director last year, Simon Cope, he said he could not keep up with her in the car around the corners, one of the best cornerers in the world. So having those few corners at the finish, she was 8 seconds down at last time check, so that was really impressive to take back those seconds in the corners.
Second in Delhi, gold here, and the party pooper for Emma Pooley. Linda Willemsen wins Commonwealth gold in the women's individual time trial by 6.03 seconds. Bronze goes to Katrin Carfoot. Superb performance from her, bettering her teammate Shara Giller, who looked the stronger of the riders at the start. Nielsen in fourth, Archibald with a super performance, the best Scottish rider at home in fifth. And of course Lucy Caldwell as well, down in eighth, another of the Scottish contingent.
In the men's road time trial held over 40 kilometres, all eyes were on Scotland's David Miller, who's making the final pedal strokes of a long career. This was his last appearance in the Scottish colours. He went out last onto the Glasgow streets. But it was Welshman Geraint Thomas who was the first to raise the bar dramatically in a very competitive field. He had claimed he was exhausted after completing the Tour de France on Sunday, but put himself into contention with this time. Miller himself had anointed Australia's Rohan Dennis as the race favourite, and the young rider from Adelaide showed why by running either first or second through nearly all the on-course time checks, and he crossed the finish line to beat Thomas's time by 4 seconds. His main rival out on the streets of Glasgow was Alex Dowsett from England. Another time trial specialist, Dowsett led early on, then fell off the pace, but his intention to save energy for the finishing headwind paid dividends, turning a 5-second deficit into a 10-second advantage on the line. A near-perfect tactical race. Only Miller was left on the course, but his lack of racing in recent weeks perhaps left him slightly undercooked, and he crossed the line to a rapturous reception from his home crowd, but no medal this time. So gold for Alex Dowsett from England, silver for Australia's Rohan Dennis, and bronze to Wales, and a no doubt now fully exhausted Geraint Thomas.